Hello there. Welcome back to our quiet corner of history. Tonight, we're going to take a little trip, not to the London, with its bright lights and iconic landmarks, but to a version of it from long, long ago. Many people picture medieval times as a grand adventure full of knights and castles. But the reality of daily life was, well, something else entirely. The dark secret behind medieval London's streets isn't about dragons or magic. It's about something far more real, something that would challenge you from the moment you arrived. So, get comfortable, dim the lights, pull up your blankets, and let's travel back together. And if you enjoy these quiet journeys, a gentle tap on the like button or a quiet subscription helps our little channel grow. Now, close your eyes and let's begin. Imagine you're opening your eyes not in your own comfortable bed, but somewhere else. The first thing you notice isn't what you see, but what you smell. It's a thick, heavy mix of wood smoke, damp earth, unwashed bodies, and something sour like old garbage. It clings to the air, to your clothes, to everything. You're in medieval London. The sounds are a low rumble, the distant clatter of a cart, the crowing of a rooster, and the murmur of voices through a thin wooden wall. The air is cool and damp against your skin. You're lying on something scratchy and uneven. It's a straw mattress, and you can feel every lump and stalk through the rough fabric. This isn't a history book. This is your new reality. And the most shocking detail, you realize you're not alone in this bed. So, you've awakened. Congratulations. Let's talk about where you just woke up. Your home is a small timber-framed house wedged tightly between its neighbors. It looks charming from a distance, with its dark wood beams and white plaster. But up close, you see the gaps in the wood. When it rains, and it often does in London, the roof leaks. Little drips of water find their way onto the floor, onto your bed, onto you. There's no central heating, of course. The only warmth comes from a central hearth, an open fire in the middle of the room. The smoke is supposed to go up through a hole in the roof, but most of it just fills the space, making your eyes water and your throat raw. You share this small space with your entire family. There are no private rooms. No personal space. Every cough, every sigh, every sniffle is a public event. At night, you see the glint of tiny eyes in the dark corners. Rats and insects are your constant roommates. They are a part of the house as much as the wood and the mud. And this is just your home. It only gets worse from here. You survived the night. Now it's time to get ready for the day. You swing your legs off the lumpy straw mattress. Your back aches. The floor is cold, hard-packed earth. You look around for a bathroom, but there isn't one. Your morning routine is simple because there are few options. You might have a bowl of water, maybe fetched from a nearby well or the river yesterday. You use it to splash your face and hands. There is no soap as you know it, just a rough cloth and dental care. You might chew on a twig to clean your teeth, or maybe just rinse your mouth with water. The idea of brushing twice a day with minty toothpaste is a fantasy beyond imagining. Cleanliness is a luxury few can afford. You wear the same clothes you wore yesterday and the day before. They are made of coarse wool, and they are never quite clean, never quite dry. They carry the smell of smoke, sweat, and the city itself. And this is just your morning routine. It only gets worse from here. Now that you're dressed, it's time to step outside. You push open the heavy wooden door and the city hits you all at once. The streets are narrow, more like alleyways. They are not paved. They are a mixture of mud, animal droppings, and whatever people have thrown from their windows. You have to watch every step you take to avoid stepping in something foul. The contents of last night's chamber pots are simply tossed out into the street. There are no sidewalks. You share the path with pigs, chickens, dogs, and horses, all adding to the mess. The air, which was bad inside, is even worse out here. It's a full-on assault on your senses. You try to breathe through your mouth, but the taste is almost as bad as the smell. People are shouting, vendors are hawking their wares, carts are creaking and rattling over the uneven ground. It's a constant, overwhelming wall of noise. This isn't a bustling, exciting city. It's a chaotic, filthy obstacle course. And this is just your street. It only gets worse from here. You've managed to navigate your street. Well done. Now, let's think about food. You're starting to feel hungry. There's no refrigerator or pantry stocked with snacks. You eat what is available today. For most people, that means bread. But this isn't the soft, fluffy bread you're used to. It's a dense, heavy loaf made from coarse flour, sometimes mixed with things like ground peas or even sawdust to make it go further. It's baked in a communal oven, and the smell of baking bread is one of the few pleasant things in the air. You might have it with a piece of cheese or a bit of dried meat if you were lucky. What about a drink? You'd think water would be the answer, but you'd be wrong. The water from the River Thames or the public wells is contaminated with all the city's waste. Drinking it is a huge risk. So everyone drinks ale or beer, even children. It's a weak, low-alcohol brew, but the brewing process kills the dangerous germs. It's safer than water, so your breakfast is hard bread and weak beer. That's it. No variety, no fresh fruit flown in from another continent. You eat what you can to survive. And this is just breakfast. It only gets worse from here. So, you've eaten, you've survived the morning. What now? For most people, the day is about work. And work is hard, physical labor from sunrise to sunset. There are no office jobs, no weekends, no paid holidays. If you're a craftsman, you might be a blacksmith, a tanner, or a weaver working in a small, dark workshop. The air is filled with fumes or dust. The work is repetitive and strains your body. If you're a laborer, you might be carrying heavy loads down at the docks or working on a new building. Every day is a struggle against exhaustion. Safety regulations don't exist. Injuries are common, and a broken leg could mean you can no longer work, which means you can no longer eat. There is no social safety net to catch you. Your survival depends entirely on your ability to work, day in and day out, until your body gives out. The average life expectancy is only around 35 years. You don't plan for retirement. You just hope to survive the next winter. This relentless cycle of hard labor and bare survival is the reality for the vast majority of people. And this is just a normal workday. It only gets worse from here. You have spent a day in medieval London. The sun is setting, casting long shadows across the muddy lanes. The noise of the day begins to fade, replaced by the ringing of church bells calling people to evening prayer. You are exhausted. Your body aches from the hard labor, your head hurts from the noise and smells, and your stomach is not happy with the strange, coarse food. As darkness falls, the city becomes a different place. There are no streetlights. The darkness is absolute, and with it comes a new set of dangers. The streets are not safe at night. Robbers and cutthroats hide in the shadows. The only light comes from the moon, or a flickering torch carried by those brave or foolish enough to be out. You retreat to your small, crowded home. You huddle around the fire for a little warmth before it dies out. You lie down on your scratchy straw mattress next to your family, listening to the sounds of the city settling down. You close your eyes, but sleep doesn't come easily. You think about your life back in the modern world. You think about a hot shower, a soft bed, clean water, and the simple, profound luxury of quiet and privacy. Here in the past, survival is a victory. Every day you wake up is a small miracle. Now, let the sounds of the past fade away. Let the comfort of your own bed soothe you. You are safe, you are warm, and you can rest. In medieval London, children worked in dangerous jobs, women lived without legal rights, and court life was a magnificent but ruthless arena of struggle. Tonight, we'll take a short trip back in time to a place not as glamorous as it's portrayed in films. Many people imagine knights and castles, but forget the mud, the smells, and the complete absence of anything you might find comforting. And here we come to the point where we begin to see behind the curtain. This is not a story of knights, but of people struggling to survive. Children work in dangerous jobs, women live without legal rights, and beneath the splendor of the palace lies a relentless battleground. If you want to continue discovering these truths, following the channel would be a great support to us. By liking the video and subscribing to the channel, we can continue this dark yet equally human journey through history together. Now, let's continue delving into the depths of our story. You wake up, but not because an alarm went off. You wake up because the cold has seeped through your thin wool blanket and into your bones. The floor beneath your straw mattress is hard, uneven earth. There's a persistent dampness in the air, a mix of morning mist, wood smoke, and something less pleasant wafting in from the street. You can hear the distant clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the lowing of a cow, and the shouts of an early morning vendor. Your room is small, dark, and shared with your entire family. There is no privacy, no quiet, no warmth. You pull on your rough, scratchy tunic. It hasn't been properly washed in weeks because soap is a luxury and hot water is something you have to create yourself with a lot of effort. This is your morning. This is normal. You're a child, But that doesn't mean what you think it means. There is no school to go to, no toys to play with. Your workday has already begun. As soon as you can walk, you are put to work. You might be helping your mother spin wool, your fingers raw from the coarse fibers. Or maybe you follow your father to the fields, your small hands pulling weeds until your back aches. It's seen as a good thing. Learning a skill early. You are contributing. You are helping your family survive another day. But there are no safety rules. None at all. If you work near a mine, the dust fills your lungs. If you work in a smithy, a stray spark could blind you. There are no child labor laws to protect you. There is just the work and the hope you make it through the day without injury. And this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. So, you survived your morning chores. Congratulations. Now comes the harder part. Perhaps your family is a bit better off, and you've been sent away to be an apprentice. This sounds like a great opportunity, a chance to learn a real trade. You might become a baker, a carpenter, or a weaver. You imagine a future, a life of your own. The reality, however, is a little different. You now belong to your master. Your day starts before the sun is up and ends long after it has set. 16 hours of work is not uncommon. You sleep on the floor of the workshop, and your meals are whatever scraps are left over. If you make a mistake, a beating is not just possible, it's expected. You are cheap labor, easily replaced. You learn your trade through repetition and fear, and this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. You've made it through the workday, apprentice or not. Congratulations. Now comes the quiet dread of the night. You look at your younger siblings. You remember there used to be more of them. It's a simple, sad fact of life here. Nearly half of all children don't make it to adulthood. A simple fever, a cough, or a cut can be a death sentence. There are no antibiotics, no modern medicine. Your parents love you dearly, but they have also learned not to get too attached too soon. The grief is a constant, quiet companion in every household. Sometimes, when a family simply cannot feed another mouth, a baby is left on the steps of a church or a foundling hospital. It's a desperate act, born of a desperate hope that someone else might be able to care for them. The world is hard, and survival is a fragile thing, and this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. So, you've somehow survived childhood. Congratulations. But now, if you are a woman, a whole new set of rules applies to you. You are not really a person in the eyes of the law. You are property. First, you belong to your father. Then, you will belong to your husband. You cannot own land, you cannot vote, you cannot speak in court. Your life is decided for you. There is one small exception. If your husband dies and you become a widow, you might inherit his business or his property. For a brief time, you might experience a taste of independence, of control over your own life. But for most women, this is a distant dream. You are legally, socially, and economically subordinate to the men in your life from the day you are born to the day you die. And this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. You've accepted your legal status, or rather, you've had no choice. Congratulations, now comes the work. As a woman, you have your own world of labor. You might be a skilled brewer, making the ale that everyone in the city drinks. Or perhaps you're a weaver, your hands moving with practiced speed to create cloth. These are important, respected skills, but here's the catch. You will always be paid less than a man doing the same or similar work. The guilds, the powerful unions that control trades, will likely not allow you to become a full member. And after your long day of brewing, or weaving, or selling goods at the market, your work is not done. You still have a household to run. You must cook, clean, mend clothes, and care for the children, all without the help of modern appliances. It is a double burden, a day that never truly ends, and this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. You've worked your fingers to the bone. Congratulations. Now it's time to think about your future, marriage. This isn't about love or romance. For most, marriage is a contract, an alliance between families. Your father will choose your husband based on what is best for the family's finances or social standing. Your feelings are not part of the equation. Then comes childbirth. You will likely do this at home, surrounded by other women from your community. Their support is a comfort, a network of shared experience. But it is also terrifyingly dangerous. With no understanding of germs or proper medical care, both mother and child are at immense risk, and within the marriage itself, there is little protection. The law permits a husband to discipline his wife physically. Domestic violence is not a crime. It is a household matter. Your home is not always a safe place, and this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. Perhaps you were lucky or unlucky enough to be born into the royal court. Congratulations. Now you get to see how the other half lives. As queen, you are surrounded by unimaginable luxury. Silks, jewels, and extravagant feasts are your daily reality. You are a symbol of power and grace, a patron of the arts. Your public life is one of ceremony and splendor. But behind the curtain, your life is not your own. You are a political pawn in an arranged marriage sent to a foreign land to secure an alliance. You have no real political power. You are watched constantly, your every word and action analyzed. Your primary duty is to produce a male heir. Your private life is a gilded cage, beautiful but confining. And this is just normal life for the powerful. It only gets worse from here. You are not the queen, but you work in the palace. Congratulations. This is a good job, a steady position. You eat better than most commoners, and you have a roof over your head. You get to witness the glamour of the court up close. But this security comes at a high price. The working hours are brutal, from well before dawn until late at night. The work is physically demanding, scrubbing floors, carrying heavy loads, tending fires. A small mistake, like a dropped plate or a misspoken word, can result in a harsh physical punishment or instant dismissal. You are always on edge, always afraid of displeasing someone more powerful than you. You are a servant, and you are reminded of it every single moment of your day. And this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. You have survived the day, whether in the palace or on the street. You have seen the hardship and the inequality. Now, as you try to rest, you think about how different your life is. You think about the soft bed you are lying in. You think about the hot water that comes from your tap, the light that fills your room at the flick of a switch. You think about the freedom you have to choose your own path, to speak your own mind, to love who you choose. The past was not a fairy tale. It was a daily struggle for survival, filled with discomfort and danger that we can barely imagine. Be grateful for the quiet, the warmth, and the safety of your modern world. These are not just statistics, but the silent cry of lost lives. We need your support to continue bringing these forgotten truths to light. Subscribe to be part of this journey. Now, let's move on to the most striking part of the story. These aren't just statistics. They are the silent cries of lost lives. We need your support to continue bringing these forgotten truths to light. A like and a subscribe is a small action for you, but it's a huge support for my channel. Thank you in advance. Now, let's continue. Relax, dim the lights, find your favorite position, and clear your mind. Tonight, we continue our little journey through time, not to the London of postcards and palaces, but to a different London, a darker, dirtier, and far more surprising place. Many people imagine medieval times as a grand adventure of knights and castles. The reality was a lot less glamorous. The dark secret behind medieval London's streets isn't about dragons or magic. It's about something far more shocking, just how incredibly difficult it was to simply survive a single day. So let your body relax. Let your breathing slow down. You don't need to focus too hard. Just listen to the sound of my voice. And if you enjoy this journey, a gentle tap on the like button and a quiet subscribe would be wonderful. Now, close your eyes. Let's begin. Imagine you're not in your comfortable bed. You are somewhere else, somewhere different. The first thing you notice isn't what you see, but what you smell. It's an overwhelming wave of scents, none of them pleasant. It's the smell of damp earth, of unwashed bodies, of smoke from 1,000 wood fires, and something else. Something foul, like garbage left out for weeks. You open your eyes, but it's still dark. Not the gentle dark of your modern bedroom, but a deep, inky blackness. The air is cold and damp, clinging to your skin. You're lying on something lumpy and scratchy. It's a straw mattress, and you can feel it rustling beneath you. You are in medieval London, around the year 1300, and your day is just beginning. So, you've woken up in the past. Congratulations. Now comes the first challenge: getting out of bed. Your home is a small timber-framed room shared with your entire family. The roof above you has a few visible gaps, and you can feel a cold draft. When it rains, it drips right onto the floor. You're not alone on your straw mattress. Tiny things are crawling on your skin. Fleas and lice are just a normal part of life here. Everyone has them. There's no privacy, no personal space. You sleep huddled together for warmth, your breath misting in the cold air. The concept of a morning routine as you know it doesn't exist. There's no refreshing shower. There's no toothbrush with minty toothpaste. Your personal care involves a small wooden bowl with a bit of cold water, if you're lucky. You might rub your teeth with a rough cloth and maybe some soot or salt. Your hair is likely tangled and greasy. Soap is a rare luxury. The idea of being clean, truly clean, is a fantasy. You just do what you can to not feel completely disgusting. So you've survived the morning ritual. Congratulations. Now comes the harder part, navigating the streets. You step out of your cramped home and the assault on your senses intensifies. The narrow street, only about 10 feet wide, is not paved. It's a river of mud, animal droppings, and household waste. People throw everything out their windows, food scraps, dirty water, even the contents of their chamber pots. You have to watch every single step to avoid sinking into something vile. The buildings lean over the street, making it feel like a dark tunnel. These overhanging upper floors, called jetties, block out most of the sunlight. Look up, and you might see your neighbor emptying a bucket right above you. A common courtesy is to shout, "Gudiloo," before you do, but not everyone bothers. The air is thick with smoke from cooking fires and workshops. Your lungs, used to cleaner air, burn with every breath. The air quality here, especially in winter, is dozens of times worse than what modern science considers safe. And this is just the beginning of your day. So you've made it onto the main street without falling. What comes next? Well, now you have to find food. Congratulations! Now comes the challenge of moving through the city. There are no cars, no buses, no subway. If you want to get somewhere, you walk. And you are not alone. The streets are packed with people. A constant jostling crowd of merchants shouting their wares, beggars pleading for a coin, and children running underfoot. The population of London is around 80,000 people, all crammed into 1 square mile. It's noisy, so incredibly noisy. The constant sound is a mix of human shouts, hammering from blacksmiths, the rumble of wooden cartwheels, and the endless clang of church bells. A daytime market can be as loud as modern city traffic, a constant 70 or 80 decibels of chaos. If you have a bit of money, you might ride a horse, but that comes with its own problems. The roads are treacherous, and the risk of being ambushed by bandits outside the city walls is very real. You could take a boat on the River Thames, which is the main highway of the city. But the river is also the city's main sewer. The smell is stomach-turning, and the water is a murky brown soup of filth. There's no escape from the crowd, the noise, or the smell. And this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. So you've survived the chaos of the streets. Congratulations. Now it's time to think about food. You're hungry. Your body is telling you it needs energy, but there are no supermarkets, no refrigerators, no neatly packaged meals. Getting food is a daily struggle. Most of what you'll eat today and every day is bread. Grains make up about 80% of your diet. You head to the baker, drawn by the smell of baking bread, one of the few pleasant aromas in the city. But even this can be a risk. Bakers were often accused of cheating, mixing their flour with cheaper things like chalk or sawdust to make more profit. The loaf of bread you buy for a quarter of a penny might not be as wholesome as it seems. What about water? You're thirsty, but you know you can't just drink from the river or the local well. The water is contaminated. It carries diseases that can make you terribly sick or even kill you. So, what do you drink? Mostly, you drink beer, or more accurately, small ale. It's a weak, low-alcohol beer that people of all ages, including children, drink throughout the day. The brewing process kills most of the dangerous bacteria in the water, making it safer to drink than the water itself. Your daily fluid intake is mostly, this week, watery ale, and this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. So you've got your questionable bread and your weak ale. Congratulations. Now, for the rest of your meal, you dream of a juicy steak, but meat is a luxury. An unskilled worker like you earns maybe 1 or 2 pennies for a whole day of hard labor. A small chicken could cost a penny, half your day's wages. So, meat is a rare treat. Most of your meals are a simple potager, thick stew of grains and whatever vegetables are in season, endlessly simmering over the fire. It's bland, it's repetitive, and the nutritional variety is poor. Vitamin deficiencies are common. Cooking is a challenge too. Everything is done over an open fire in your small, smoky home. It's a constant fire hazard. Food storage is even harder. Without refrigeration, you rely on salting, smoking, or drying to preserve food for the winter. But spoilage is a constant threat. The risk of food poisoning is something you live with every single day. During the winter, when fresh food is scarce, the threat of starvation is very real. You eat what you can, when you can, and hope it doesn't make you sick. And this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. So, you've eaten your simple meal. Congratulations. Now, let's talk about your health. Sooner or later, you will get sick. Or you'll get injured. What happens then? There are no emergency rooms, no trained doctors in the way we understand them. Medical knowledge is based on ancient theories about the 4 humors in your body. If you have a fever, the physician will likely say you have too much hot, dry humor. The solution? Bloodletting. They will cut you and drain some of your blood to rebalance your humors. It doesn't work. In fact, it often makes things much, much worse. Herbal remedies exist, and some might offer a little relief, but many cures are actively harmful. You might be given potions containing mercury or lead. If you have a toothache, the barber surgeon will pull the tooth out with no anesthetic, using a terrifying pair of pliers. The average life expectancy is only about 35 years old, and that's if you survive childhood. Nearly half of all children don't live to see their 10th birthday. Sickness is a constant fear, and effective help is almost impossible to find. And this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. So you've managed to avoid the doctor for now. Congratulations. But there is a bigger, more terrifying threat looming. Disease doesn't just come for one person, it comes for everyone. Epidemics sweep through the crowded, unsanitary city with terrifying speed. You've heard whispers of a terrible sickness, a great pestilence that is spreading across Europe. Soon it will arrive in London. We call it the Black Death. Imagine the fear. People start developing high fevers, painful swellings in their armpits and groin, and then they die, often within days. No one knows what causes it. No one knows how to stop it. The city becomes a place of horror. Carts roll through the streets with callers shouting, "Bring out your dead." It is estimated that in just 2 years, from 1348 to 1350, the plague will kill almost half of London's population, 40,000 people. Your friends, your neighbors, your family. The chances of survival are slim. All you can do is pray and hope it doesn't find you. And this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. So, you've somehow survived the plague. Congratulations. You are one of the lucky few. But life is still full of danger. Let's talk about crime. With so much poverty and desperation, crime is rampant. The murder rate in medieval London is estimated to be 20 to 40 times higher than it is in modern London. Getting robbed on a dark street is a very real possibility. There's no official police force to call. Justice is often swift and brutal. If you're caught stealing, the punishment might be getting your hand cut off. For more serious crimes, the punishments are designed to be public spectacles of horror. You might be hanged, or worse, subjected to a long, drawn-out execution in front of a cheering crowd. There's no concept of rehabilitation. The goal of the law is not to reform, but to punish and to make an example of you. You live under a constant, low-level fear, knowing that one wrong step, or just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, could lead to a very painful end. And this is just normal life. It only gets worse from here. So you're trying to stay out of trouble and live your life. Congratulations. But your life is not entirely your own. Society is a rigid pyramid. Where you are born is where you will stay. If you're born a peasant, you will die a peasant. The idea of social mobility, of working your way up in the world, is almost unheard of. Your clothes, your food, even the way you're allowed to speak, are dictated by your social class. If you are a woman, your world is even more restricted. You are legally considered the property of your father and then your husband. You cannot own property yourself. Your work, which is just as hard as a man's, earns you only a third to a half of his wages. Your role is to marry, have children, many of whom will not survive, and run the household. There is a sense of belonging in this rigid structure, a clarity to your role. But there is no freedom. Your path is set for you from the moment you are born, and this is just normal life. It never gets any better. And so, the day ends, the sun sets, and a deep darkness falls over the city once more. There are no streetlights. The only light comes from a few flickering candles or the glow of a hearth. The noise of the day subsides, but it's not replaced by silence. It's replaced by the sounds of the night, the barking of dogs, the cries of a sick child, the distant shout of the night watchman. You crawl back onto your lumpy, flea-ridden straw mattress. You pull a coarse wool blanket over you, the cold seeping into your bones. You survived. You survived the filth, the hunger, the noise, the constant threat of disease and violence. You made it through one more day in medieval London. And tomorrow you will wake up and do it all over again. Think about this as you lie in your soft, clean bed. Think of the solid roof over your head, the clean water that flows from your tap, the light that appears with the flick of a switch. Think of the food in your refrigerator, the medicine in your cabinet, the simple safety of your quiet street. These things that we take for granted would have seemed like impossible magic to the person you were today. They are luxuries beyond the wildest dreams of a king from that time. You can let go of that world now. Your journey is over. You are back in your own time, in your own safe and comfortable bed. Feel the softness of your pillow, the warmth of your blankets. Appreciate the quiet, the peace, the effortless comfort of your modern life. There is nothing more for you to do now, nothing to worry about. Just relax and let sleep find you. Thank you for listening. Sleep well.